Today on the channel, it's review day. We're looking at the Yoder wood-fired pizza oven. Stay tuned, I'll tell you all about it. What's up, barbecue fans? Welcome back to Patio. My name's Jake, you're watching Rum and Cook. Today on the channel, we're talking all about the Yoder wood-fired pizza oven. It's review time. I've had a few months. I've got some things that I like about it, some things I don't like about it, and some tips. We're gonna break all that down for you. Before we do that, make sure you watch this video to the end. In 2023, I've started a new contest. It's in every video. And if you don't watch the end and get the hashtags and follow the instructions, you're gonna be burning money, literally. You could win $25, so stay tuned for that. It'll be near the end of the video. So as I mentioned, the way this video is gonna work is I'm gonna talk about some pros, some cons, and I'm gonna give you some tips. We'll start with some pros. So with my first cook, I cooked a calzone, and I gotta tell you, I pulled it out of the box, I followed the instructions, I fired it up, I made my calzone, away I went, and it was pretty delicious. So I wondered to myself, did I have beginner's luck, or is this thing all it's cracked up to be? And since then, I've done a lot of different things. What have we done? We've done a cast iron pizza that was phenomenal. I've done several spatchcock chickens in various ways, experimenting. The first one I did share a video of that, so you can check that one out. I did Napoleon style pizza, I did wings, and Napoleon style pizzas, I've actually cooked about 6 or 7 since. So, my goal here was really spend some time with it, make sure I'm educated on it before I share any opinions. And, I was impressed with it out of the gate, but I wanted to get a little bit more time on it. And let me break down the pros for you. Super simple. First and foremost, now this works with the 640 and the 480. So you've got more flexibility. You can smoke, you can grill, and now you can make wood-fired pizza. You've got an oven, it definitely does not disappoint, so it adds some flexibility that you didn't have before, and it's all in one unit. Another pro to it that I really like about it is that the top gets hot, right? The way this works, the fire comes up and over like a traditional pizza oven, but because this is all metal and it's inside the Yoder, this is hot. So in my calzone video, I put a little bit of sauce in a pan on top here in the pot, and I stirred it up, got it up to temperature. That way I was able to thicken up a little bit. Now let me tell you, depending on what temperature you're using on this, it's hot, right? This was 650 when I was using it, somewhere like that, 550. So, if you're gonna try and use this, you've got to just take into consideration the temperature that you're using. Now when I did wings, I also used the top, and I can't remember if in my spatchcock chicken video I used the top. I might not have used the top in that video, but I have used the top since, just so that I could get some heat from the bottom with it covered. This started cooking before I put it in the oven, and then I got all that top down heat, and what happens is it gets crisped up and it's not at the temperature yet. So I've been using that for that. So that's definitely something that I like about it. Another thing that I really like about this guy is the ability to set the temperature and not think about it. Now, if you've ever played with some of the other backyard pizza ovens, small ones, right? They can be a real pain in the butt to get your temperatures. Now, you can learn them and you can use them, no doubt about it. I'm not knocking them, but there's something to be said about setting my temperature at 500 and just letting it go. And as long as I got pellets in there, I don't have to babysit it. Now, as someone who is new to the wood-fired pizza world, you guys have seen in my channel that I have a wood-fired pizza oven in Alpha, and the one thing that I learned very quickly about it is the learning curve is like this. It is very difficult to really control your temperatures, and you just got to get time on it to learn how to use it. With something like the Yoder pizza oven, you don't have any of that. You put it in, you dial in your temperature, and away you go. So that is a very, very big bonus of something like this. The last thing that I really like about it is just the overall results. Right, I'm able to turn out a great calzone, great Neapolitan pizza. I mean, one of the things you want to get with Napoleon pizza is that burnt, charred crust around the outside, right? Your fire comes up here, kisses the side of your crust, and gives you that color and that flavor that you're really looking for. And of course, we've got the top-down cooking, which you really need for a well-cooked, fast pizza. That's how you get nice crunchy but airy in the inside, and it just turns out a great product. Now, before we get to the cons, I want to go over one thing. I see this comment on Instagram, on Reddit, and in the comments, and I want to address it real quick, and that is people seem to think that this thing's going to burn through pellets like crazy. And let me tell you, it's going to burn some, no doubt about it. However, it's not really as bad as you might think. So my first 3 cooks, I went through almost a bag of pellets and a 20-pound bag, right? So preheated, in my case, I'm preheating for 30, 40 minutes sometimes just because I'm setting up gear. And then I cooked for 10 or 15 minutes and I shut it down. I got 3 cooks out of that, and I want to say that I almost completed the 4th cook with 1 bag. Now, if you're breaking this out for a party and you're doing a whole bunch of pizzas, right, you're gonna preheat it. If you can cook pizzas in under 3 minutes in a very short period of time, you could run this for like an hour and you could turn out a whole ton of pizzas, right? You could feed 20 people, no problem. Then you could turn it off. So it doesn't burn as many pellets as you might think, but it does burn more than obviously, grilling at 500 or whatever it is. So just be aware of that, but don't let it freak you out because it's really not as bad as a lot of people think. With that being said, let's get into our cons. There's always a handful of cons with most products. And the one that I'll point out right away for this guy is that you do have to clean your pit every single time you use it. Now, you're supposed to do that with a pellet grill. Most pellet grills anyhow. Although if you're anything like me, you kind of cheat the system a little bit and empty out the fire pot in the chamber, and then you do another cook, and then every few cooks you vacuum it out. With this guy, you need to vacuum it out every single time. And the reason for that is if you have a bunch of ash in the bottom of it, it's going to get blown around because there's no diffuser plate in there, and you're going to get a little bit of ash on your food. And you don't want that. And if it's like really full of ash, you will get a lot on your food. So you do have to vacuum it every time, and it is what it is. I mean, it takes you 10 minutes, but just be aware of that. Another con, and I use the term con loosely. It all depends on what kind of pellets you normally buy. But in my experience, you want to use a little bit of a higher quality pellet because some of the lesser quality pellets tend to produce more ash and they don't burn as hot. So, find something that's on sale in a high quality brand. Doesn't matter about the flavor, and just buy a little bit of extra of it because the flavor profile of the wood doesn't come through on the pizza oven, right? It doesn't matter if you use mesquite or oak or whatever, it's all gonna taste about the same. It's burning a very, very clean fire, so you're not really getting a lot of wood-fired flavor per se. So use whatever pellets you want. The other con that I'll say is you've got to have a place to store it, right? If you have one of the other little portable options, a lot of them you can just buy a cover, you can leave it outside, and you're done with it. With this, you're going to have to take it apart, take it inside, and store it when you're using it for smoking or grilling or something else, right? You can't leave it in there and use it for anything else. Once this is in here, it's in pizza mode. So you have to have left in there, or you've got to remove it when you're not going to use it. So just be aware of that. I don't think it's that big a deal, right? It comes in 3 different pieces. I've shown you guys before, so I'm not going to take it apart. But the lid, the dome here, comes off, right? It's separate. There's a pizza stone, and then there's a diffuser plate. Now, I will tell you, they are a little heavy, right? It's well made. It's 10 gauge steel on the bottom for that diffuser plate. So there's a little bit of weight to them. Not huge, but I usually carry in the diffuser in the top in one trip, and then I carry in the pizza stone in the other. And for me, I store it in my garage. I think you could maybe store it on the shelf on the bottom if you don't have like a competition car or something like that. However, just to keep it out of the elements, my preference is to keep it inside. That's really it for cons. I don't really have any complaints about it. I think it works great, and it works better than I expected. I had high expectations, and it definitely met those, so I'm super excited with my experience with it so far. With that being said, I need to give you some tips. We talked about quality pellets, we talked about cleaning it out every time. The one thing you're gonna want, and you need this with every pizza oven, is like a brush, right? Because you are gonna get some ash on the surface, and what most people don't realize is that even in like professional wood-fired pizza ovens, after you start your fire and everything, you get it going, you're supposed to wash that deck, right? So what happens is a lot of people just take their pizza peel or their pizza turner, the long with the small one, the long handled small disc, right, that you use to turn around pizza. They wrap a cloth that's moist, and they just clean out the inside of it. So look that up online, you'll see that. So you can do something similar like this, but you want to clean it before you use it, and as you're cooking, you're going to want to brush off a little bit of ash because it is going to build up there, depending on how long you're running, what temperature you're running, and what kind of pellets and everything you're running. That's a good tip for you. The other tip I'll give you is don't be intimidated by making your own dough. Learn how to make it. If you do that and you learn how to make a higher hydration dough, you're gonna get some really good results out of this. So it does take a little bit of time, but just decide you're gonna learn how to do it. There's lots of pizza making channels out there, and when you start doing that, the product quality really goes up, and it totally destroys anywhere that you go out for pizza. Have fun, right? It's easy to use. Watch some videos on it, get some ideas for temperatures, and it's gonna cook quick. You're gonna have to turn your pizzas around. You gotta babysit a little bit until you get used to it. But once you've had a few cooks on it, you're gonna pick it up pretty quick. The learning curve is not too steep on it, and I think you're gonna knock out some amazing food. So if you're on the fence, I give it 2 thumbs up. Highly recommend you consider getting it. That brings us to our contest. So in 2023, every single video will have 2 hashtags in it. Today, the hashtags are gonna be Yoder Smokers and Wood-Fired Pizza. So I'll put them up on the screen for you. And to be entered in the contest, you only have to do a couple things. You've got to be subscribed to the channel, you've got to like the video, and then all you got to do is comment with those 2 hashtags. And what'll happen there is next video, I will use my random comment picker, and anyone who uses those hashtags will all be automatically entered in. I'll do a random comment on the screen live in the video, and I'll show you who won, and you're gonna win a $25 gift card to @bbq.com. I will contact you via the comments. You'll send me an email, we'll confirm it's you, and then I will send to your email address a gift card, and you can do some shopping. Additionally, I just launched my Patreon, and if you are a Patreon member, that doubles. Doesn't matter if you're at the $5 plan or the $25 plan. Anyone who's a Patreon member, they automatically get 2x in all these contests. And I'm doing a contest in every video, so you've got lots of chances in 2023, hopefully about 52 of them. So thanks as always for watching. Hopefully you got some value out of this. If you've got some questions about this or anything else, leave a comment below, shoot me an email. I'm happy to help. Thanks for watching. I'll see you soon.